This is AI and marketing. My name is Kaaveh, and I'm from Plaiced, the founder of Plaiced, where we enable advertising in online communities. And today, we have, what would I call you, digital expert? Some people say guru, right?
Yeah, I say just marketer, entrepreneur.
Just marketer, entrepreneur, and a co-founder, of course, of NP Digital. Now, one thing that I've also noticed about you in this last little while that I've known you is that you are a great optimizer of time. And why is that?
I have a limited amount of time in life. You know, there's only so much time you can spend with family, parents, and especially when people are getting older, like your parents. So it's just like every time, every second that goes by in life is really precious. I can make more money. I can't buy back more time.
Some people articulate time in a way that, especially some of the people that are very successful like yourself, and they say, well, I'm going to try to get 100 hours out of a 24-hour day. Have you added that metric to your vocabulary at all? And if you have,
No.
I'm curious what amount of hours you're at.
No, because I look at it as there's only 24 hours in a day. You're only going to get 24 hours worth of hours. You can be more efficient during that time. I like sleeping around 8 hours a day, and then the rest, family, work, friends, meals, etc. And
based on that time optimization as well for people, I know that it's very valuable because everyone struggles with that. So is there some practical tips that maybe people don't have? At least everything's relative. They all have these busy schedules. What do you think would be some good advice that you have in terms of time optimization to give them more time back, the things they love?
The simplest one is stop wasting time on social media. If you look at how many hours people spend on social media and what the value that they get in return, there's a big disconnect. And does that mean you shouldn't use social media? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you see a lot of people spending an hour, 2 hours a day just scrolling through Instagram or TikTok and just finding the next video to double tap and like. And then time goes by and they're like, oh, I barely got anything done today. Yeah, because you wasted a few hours on social media.
And so that's, first of all, I got to learn more about that as well myself. But I can say that's a nice, interesting segue to NP Digital. So one thing that as a startup, as a grow up, that I've learned myself is that to focus on one thing first, and then, which I haven't always listened to, but to focus on one thing first and then extrapolate from there and then start getting the validation and start adding more services. When I look at NP Digital, you're much further along, and clearly you're a 9-figure business. However, I do see all of these different things that you guys do. And I'm curious, as before we get into the marketing side of it, entrepreneur to entrepreneur, teach other entrepreneurs out there, give me some logic behind that as far as all the different amazing services that you guys provide versus focus.
Yeah, so we're a pure performance marketing shop, or you can say digital marketing shop. We focus on all digital channels. Marketing used to be where you can leverage one channel and do really well. Facebook did well by leveraging your email list and inviting all your other contacts to Facebook. Dropbox did well saying, want more free space? Tweet this out or share this on the social web, so they leverage social media. You know, Yelp did really well from SEO. Marketing channels eventually started getting crowded. You could no longer build a company just through one channel. You have to leverage all of them. We focus on digital marketing as a whole, right? Because we can't get clients enough results from just one channel anymore. Even if they think they can, that may be the case temporarily. But in the long run, to truly keep growing and to do well, you got to diversify your marketing channels, and you can't rely on one source.
Well said. So, and NP Digital, I know that whether you guys recognize it or not, you are enabling smaller businesses to grow. Essentially, you are doing, I want to say philanthropy, but you're doing good in the world. And as a result of that, how important is that mission through line within what you all do?
Sure. We just love helping. So my mom was a teacher.
Okay.
And she taught me to always help others and be good and, help where you can and continually learn. You don't know everything, which she's spot on. I don't know most things in this world. And the things I do know, I can always become better at. So I've always just enjoyed helping others and educating. And I think I got that from my mom and never really looked at it as philanthropy or helping others. I just enjoyed teaching, and I enjoyed when someone else learned something from me and they saw it impact their life or their business in a positive way. It made me happy. Didn't expect anything in exchange or return for it. Just made me happy.
So this is something that's not making a lot of people happy, is the new addition of acronyms. As AI gets bigger and bigger, it's more acronyms that come into play.
Yeah.
So for a lot of marketers out there, they're all wondering, okay, SEO, we're starting to get this, we're starting to get this. It's ever evolving. It's always getting more and more challenging, but there's companies like yourself to help out with that. However, now there's generative engine optimization that's peaking its head. Now, depending on how much, we'll see. But as far as right now, with Google's changes, if you can explain a little bit on that, as far as what they're planning to do and integrate generative engine optimization within their search bar as well, practically speaking.
Sure.
I'm wondering what you think about that.
So what Google's doing is, imagine you do a search. I live in Toronto. I'm looking for a bike that can help me get to work. I prefer electric and I have to go up hills. What they're trying to do is, instead of you just typing in buy electric bike, in this case, you can be more specific and it just shows you the answer or the solution. And that's what they're getting at. And then instead of, if you don't find what you like, let's say it shows you a list of bikes and you like them, but they're not the right color. Instead of having to redo your search and say, no, show me the ones in red. I don't want a blue bike or a yellow or black. I want a red one. Instead, you can just add to it and say, please show me the red ones. And then they'll filter and then show you the red ones. Or another example is, I have a kid, a dog, and my kid is 2.5 years old. We're looking to go on a hike somewhere around Toronto. What's the best place for me to go? Keep in mind, my son needs to be home for 12 o'clock by his nap time, right? And they'll tell you based on traffic condition, etc. Their goal is, here they'll give you options. Oh, check out Bryce Canyon, or check out the Toronto Hills. I'm making this up because I don't live here. And they'll say, check out these places, low traffic, good weather during this day. You should check it out. And a lot of 2-year-olds love this hike based on the research we found. They're just trying to give you the answer. Now, that's generative AI, generative engine optimization, which is what you're also discussing, in which you want to end up showing up there when they're pulling from sites and linking to them. You want them to link to yours and mention yours. It's a lot of the same factors that we see in traditional SEO: the authority of your site, your trustworthiness, the authority, the expertise that you have as an author, the experience that you're sharing based on the author, the code, the user signals when people are reading your content. Are they just bouncing right away? Are they sticking around and engaging? Kind of like just how social algorithms work. This all affects if they're going to show your stuff or not.
So then that means, so a lot of people are afraid, a lot of companies are afraid, and I'm sure marketers as well are worried, at least, that the traffic will decrease considerably, because now to get an answer, as you suggested, you can get it right there, essentially in the search,
yes,
versus having to go into a link to see it, other than the preview, of course. So wondering, what do you think about, what can people do there? Because, yeah, it will decrease.
So I'm paraphrasing the quote, but Danny Sullivan, who's Google search liaison, once said, Google has driven more traffic to websites every single year since its existence. I do eventually think there's going to be a time where it changes, where Google drives less traffic to sites than before. When you used to do a search, most people would just click on one of the 10 blue links on a homepage. Now, if you search for the weather in Toronto, you don't click on any link. You just search and Google gives you the answer. A good chunk of the searches, 30 to 40%, from what we've seen, get no clicks. But Google's grown in popularity so that, let's call it 60% that are still clicking through, is a much bigger number than the 100%. It was never really 100% because some people don't click on any results, but the 90+% that it was, 20 plus years ago. And the point I'm getting at is, Google has done a lot of stuff that's taken away clicks from websites, but they've improved the experience of Google. Does this mean that generative AI is going to hurt your traffic? Good chance. Does it mean SEO is going to die? No. A lot of people are finding still the results that they like in SEO, just like when they introduced paid ads, it didn't kill SEO. And does this mean that generative AI will really wipe out your traffic? Well, a lot of how they're using generative AI when they're giving answers, they're also linking to the places they're getting the answers from, so people can click through and get more from your website. And the point I'm getting at is, don't worry if it can give you a lot of traffic or less traffic in the future. It's still a viable channel. Use it for what it is. It's like organic social media. 5 years ago, your engagement was through the roof compared to what it is now because the algorithms make it harder. Does it mean social media is not worth using? No, it still is. Just because it doesn't do as well as it once did doesn't mean it still can't drive a ROI. Marketing and business is really simple. If you spend $1 and you can make multiple dollars from it, you keep doing it.
How important is voice search?
Voice search is massive. Voice commerce has grown into a multi-billion dollar market. I don't know what the market size is in today's world, but I do know it's above $20 billion a year. If not, I think 30 plus billion at this point.
And how can brands use this?
Voice commerce specifically, and that's what I was talking about when I was stating the market size. There's a lot of transactions happening on voice. Leverage it. From Alexa to Google, people use voice for a lot of these devices, and they can make purchases optimized for these platforms. Use their technologies, plug into them.
And what would you say that marketers can do better in terms of in SEO and in relation to as this new evolution into a new version of SEO with GEO and so on?
Focus on the user. Search engines optimize for what's best for the user. You should optimize what's best for the user. Not the search engine, but optimize what's best for the user. That may mean that you're making changes that search engines don't see as valuable yet, but once they figure out that's what the users want, you should end up crushing it. You just have to be patient.
Do you feel that NP Digital, it's a culmination of, how I perceive, a culmination of a McKinsey, a culmination of social marketing, media planning, buying, a culmination of an agency mixed with a consultant, and now mixed with AI experts. How would you describe NP Digital?
Sure. I think your definition was a little bit too kind. We're more of a mixture of a typical ad agency that really tries to delight the customer and leverages technology to create the most efficiencies and the best results for our clients.
And AI being what it is today, now this is a very loaded question, but what should people look for in AI? What are some tools that you recommend that today, practically speaking, they can use to, and you could zoom in on any particular element you feel is best?
Yeah, so I'm not going to actually recommend a tool with AI. And the reason being is there's a lot of junk and crap out there. There's a lot of good platforms leveraging AI in a useful way. ChatGPT, considering a platform. Gemini, good platform. There's some software companies that are doing some cool stuff like Adobe. But outside of that, I think it's too early. When I say it's too early, it's not too early to use AI. I think it's too early to say this is the tool, this is a solution. We're just scratching the surface. A lot of the AI technology out there is not that great. And when I say that, it's not that I'm knocking it, and it is amazing. I'm saying it's at its infancy, and this is not even, we're at the tip of the iceberg. Give it 3, 4, 5 years, you'll really see some great stuff. It doesn't mean that it's bad. Again, it's amazing. I couldn't create any of this stuff. I'm not that smart. But what you should look at it as, it's evolving so fast that you give it 6 months to a year, you'll look at something totally different. You give it 2, 3 years, you'll be shocked. People underestimate what the AI will be able to do for them in the next 5 years. And they look at the current solutions as a magic wand and it can solve all problems. It can't really solve all problems. It's not the magic solution right now in its current state, but give it 3, 4, 5 years. And most of us won't even be able to imagine that the stuff it's doing.
Should people hire an AI role and to consolidate, to research all these different tools that are out there, and just to see which one they can leverage at that moment? I understand they're not going to bank on it, but
Kind of. I do think they should hire an AI role. Researching tools, part of it. More so what they should do is figure out what issues the company has and what they can be leveraging from an AI standpoint that can help them. That's where I think it's more important. Then from there, that'll affect the research that they're doing.
biggest mistake, let's say it on the positive side, the best thing that marketers can do in the next 5 years to grow their business and, of course, get conversion at the end?
The best thing that marketers can do to grow their business is give away something for free. The best form of marketing is just give away something for free that everyone is used to paying for. Giving away something for free that people are used to getting for free isn't too effective. But if you can find something people are used to paying for, like a software solution, and you give it away fully for free, you'll organically grow without much marketing.
What's next at NP Digital?
More international expansion. We've been buying up quite a bit of businesses, and we'll continue that trajectory, and we look forward to doing that over the next few years and continue to have fun.
Noticed you acquired a creative agency, and what's next on the acquisition that you're able to share, or at least what are the different niches you're trying to fill the gaps or improve them?
Sure, we're about to acquire a performance marketing shop with 100 plus employees in Southeast Asia. That closes in May. We're in April. And in June should close a performance marketing and CRM shop in Spain and Latin America.
I'm also very, as an entrepreneur, it's sometimes, depending on the stage of the company, you're so tied to your idea, then you romanticize it, especially earlier entrepreneurs. And one thing that, before I do the lead-in of how you are now, or how I see you as now at least, how were you as the early stage entrepreneur, well before NP Digital, in your first business?
I was more sporadic, all over the place, trying to do too many things in my early days. Now I'm really focused, go after big markets, hire amazing people who have done it before, and sit and be patient.
So the difference there that I heard and that I've seen is that you hire people, as we all say, that are much smarter than us in a particular thing, right?
Yes.
You've been quoted as saying yourself, you said that that you're not a great manager of people.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, you hired an incredible CEO to run the company. And I'm sure you do that, and you rinse and repeat all that for all the different companies you do. How does the earlier stage entrepreneurs, and even the marketers, frankly, you can draw analogies from both, remove their ego to work with a team?
I don't know how they would remove their ego, but I know if they're going to have an ego, it's just not going to work. And that depends on each person. Why do you need an ego? It's coming from somewhere. You may be missing something, or you want something, or you want to be cool, or whatever it is, or you want people to see you as like that macho person who knows everything. Whatever's causing that ego, you got to get to the root of it, and that'll help you push it away.
And company culture is very big for you. And you just won an award recently, another one, which is amazing. So another key thing for a lot of these ad agencies and brands, they really do emphasize and do their best with company culture as best as they can. What are some experiences that you can draw from that to share some wealth of knowledge there that we can learn from in our own companies?
Yeah, making money is great, but if people aren't aligned culturally, the business isn't going to do well in the long run. People need to really be aligned, have the same morals and ethics and values, and be willing to go all in to go after the same mission. And, time will tell how well a company does. But you got to really foster that culture, and you got to kick out the bad apples of that culture. Like, there's going to be people that can ruin your culture, and you don't want to keep having them in an organization, even if they're great at something like sales. Just in the long run, a bad culture can really eat up a company from the inside.
So you do believe in the model of hire slow and fire fast?
Yes.
And any final thoughts?
No, I think we covered quite a bit. If I had to give one last piece of advice, and I mentioned this a little bit, just go after a big market. It's easier to take a small fraction of a really massive market where people are spending a lot of money, like toothpaste or toilet paper or whatever it may be, versus taking 100% of a really, really niche market that barely has any buyers, because the way you do marketing takes a similar amount of effort. Might as well just go after a bigger market where there's more revenue potential.
Neil Patel, NP Digital, thank you.